I am the Küchenmeister, the northern on my Rhone till I valley. I'd rather not discuss any part of that for legal reasons. For illegal reasons, I'll let you decide. The Northern Rhone. Let's get real, people. So we're gonna break this up into the northern part of the Rhone and the southern part of the Rhone.
In two separate videos.
Two. No. So you'll see the northern Rhone is going to be this slightly skinnier part that runs along the left and right bank of the Rhone River. And you'll see that it's cut off here, but the southern Rhone is going to be this slightly larger appellation that leads out towards that southern part of the Rhone River and sort of has appellations that are a little bit larger and more outstretching than what we have in the northern Rhone. All of the appellations that we're going to be looking at are considered crus. However, if you wanted to make, for some reason, generic Rhone appellation wine, you could technically label it Côte de Rhone if you wanted to make a slightly more generic wine with no set parameters for you. We'll talk about climate just briefly. We're in a moderate maritime climate. We're sort of not near any large body of water other than the Rhone River. So most of our vineyards are going to be south facing to maximize the potential for capturing sun. And we're going to have the mistral winds come down from the northern Rhone and go south. They follow the river and provide sort of a moderating influence depending on the proximity to the river.
So when we're talking about grape growing, the principal black grape varietal here is Syrah. It is actually the only black grape permitted in the northern Rhone. When you're considering winemaking styles with Syrah, some oak is used depending on the style you're aiming for. However, some winemakers add white grapes, specifically Viognier, into Syrah production to stabilize the color extraction and add aromatic intensity in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll talk about our principal white grapes, Viognier or Viognier. Is what we're going to see most of our production in. It's very aromatically intense, full bodied, but lower on the acid, but high alcohol. And some winemakers are choosing to use new oak to age their Viognier in. There's also these two grapes that sort of go hand in hand, Marsanne and Roussanne, which are generally blended together, both of which have potential to age. However, Roussanne, the latter of which is a little bit higher acid and a little bit more perfumed than its counterpart. We're going to split this up. We're going to split the northern Rhone up into the northern parts of the northern Rhone and the more southern parts of the northern Rhone. So, Pops, if you want to hit it off with the northern parts.
Yeah, so the North Rhone, that's what we're calling it. We're starting with the Côte Rôtie, translating literally in French to be like the roasted coast. It's an indication of the sunlight they get, right? As they experience a lot of sunlight, and only Syrah is permitted to be grown here. However, up to 20% of Viognier can be added to the blend. Wine here is deeply colored with a full-bodied spicy wine. Your next cru, what we're talking about, is Condrieu, where 100% Viognier production for white wine. They have low-yielding older vines on these like almost step terraces, and these vineyards are planted on these terraces. There's specifically one single property appellation within Condrieu going by the name of Chateau Gridiet. Finally, St. Joseph, mainly red production. So you're going to have your large volume production. These wines typically are lighter in body and experience carbonic maceration, something we talked about in the Beaujolais video. The flatter sites on the valley floor of St. Joseph often make the high volume, light bodied wines. And through the use of carbonic maceration, it shows the Syrah's natural pepperiness, as it's described.
Right. Then to our more southern part of the northern Rhone, the south-north, we have the region of Cru Hermitage, which is just north of the region of Hermitage. And this is going to be an extremely important appellation in terms of the volume of wine production. North, like I said, this is a north region, the northern region of Hermitage, rather north of, and is using steep slope vineyards. And when we're using for Syrah production, we have around 15% maximum amount that we can add with Mousson, Roussan or Marsan. Quality, style, and price generally varies significantly depending on the vineyard site. But your more tannic and complex wines are going to be on the more steep slope vineyards towards the north, while in the south, you're going to have wines with slightly lighter styles, but more high yielding vines. Firm tannins in this region, typically early drinking, but there is some chance for more expensive wines with a little bit more structure to age. Also, some more expensive wines can be aged in oak. There is a little bit of white wine production in this region, but not much. Then we'll move on to Hermitage, just south of Croz's Hermitage. They use a system of
Ludi,
which is really weird. And this is not technically part of the appellation system. And same as Cru Hermitage, 15% of a Syrah ferment can be made up for with Marsan or Roussan to add a little bit more perfume characteristic and help with color extraction a little bit. White wine production consists of around 1/5 of Hermitage production, and I believe that is made up, can be made up of either of these grapes, Marsan or Roussan. And we're generally having a very full-bodied red wine come out that is capable of having some age on it. Pardon me. The slopes vary in steepness and in aspect, but generally our vines are on slopes in this region. Cronus is going to be our most southerly region for red wine crus, and is a little bit unique from other appellations because 100% of the vineyards must be made up of Syrah. And because of this, it's going to be extremely deeply colored and extremely full-bodied, no blending here. So that was the Northern Rhone, the southern part of the Northern Rhone, and in the northern part of the Northern Rhone.
The North Rhone and the North-South Rhone and the Northern Rhone.
But which is which? Which is the Rhone?
But what about the Southern Rhone? Are we going to talk about the South-North Rhone? Or the South-South Rhone?
I think they'll have to find out next time.
Chateauneuf de Pape's?
I'll leave it there.